You know, this is what every single last king needs to understand. Currently, as you clearly see, I'm in my car in the cut, and I can't lie. This is some good lighting. I can't even lie. This is some good lighting. You know, I look pretty looks max right now. Pretty looks max right now. You feel me? Unintentionally. But currently, I'm up in New York, in my hometown, and man, I'm just up here, and it's like, damn, I can't imagine still being in your hometown, you know, like after high school and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I don't know, when I come back here, it's just depressing. You feel me? It's just depressing. You know, it's just depressing, especially since it's in New York too. Expensive, horrific New York. I don't know, there's just a lot of depressing vibes going through me right now. You feel me? Going through me right now. But damn, you know, I got the whole crib to myself. My parents went away for their anniversary. You know, I'm only up here because of Six Flags. You know, yesterday was Sunday. Today, I don't know. I don't think my professor showed up. You know, I actually forgot I had one class today. I can't lie. I got to lock in on school. And I also got to get this damn bread, you feel me? Because, you know, my freaking girl got me broke. You know, she got me broke. And it's like what I said yesterday. It really has me realizing, you know, having a girl, you know, having a relationship, depending on what type of guy you are. Because, you know, some guys, they don't spend crap on their girls. But, I don't know, my love language is, you know, giving and stuff like that. It's the full spectrum. So, you know, I'm going to spend bread on her. But, you know, it has me realizing, you know, it's a liability. It's something that will keep you in the system, in the matrix, you feel me? Keep you basically, in my opinion, kind of enslaved, because you need that bread. You know, you need that bread to provide and support her. So it's a liability. It's something that will keep you in the matrix. And, you know, me, I don't like the 9 to 5. I don't like the system at all. You know, I like being attached from it. So, you know, it is what it is. It's something I need to think about some more. Cause I don't fuck with the system. You feel me? I don't like the consumerism, the capitalistic culture, the 9 to 5 culture is just so soul crushing, so depressing. You know, it's not it. But anyway, it has me thinking, it has me going back to the topic of this video. And, you know, I thought about this a couple of days ago when it came to my girl's freaking friend group, you know, cause in that friend group, they're, you know, at least a lot of them, you know, well, basically all of them, you know, and I hope nobody sees this video, cause I don't want to hear nobody's mouth, but they're all looking for like a dude, you feel me? Looking for a guy, you know, looking for the right guy, exploring their options. And, you know, with them, first of all, I've never experienced a friend group like them. You know, they're younger than me, and it's kind of like dealing with high schoolers sometimes, for real. Like, it takes me back to high school, you know, especially since she's like 3.5 years younger than me, you know. But anyway, yeah, they're basically all looking for a guy and stuff like that, you know, exploring their options. And they're just going from guy to guy to guy. And, you know, I was sprinkling some of my advice, you know, from time to time. Like, they're trying to find a guy going to these damn parties, and it's like the type of guy going to the parties, you know, going to the club. It's a guy that just wants to, you know, he ain't gonna be boyfriend material. He's not gonna be Mr. Right, in my opinion. You know, guys that go there, you know, they're out in the streets. They're just looking to crack, you know, they're just looking to have fun. You know, they're not no boyfriend material. And I tell them this, and they don't really listen, you know. But they're basically, you know, looking for a guy. And not only that, a lot of what they do is, you know, hedonism. You know, the constant craving for stimulation. You know, the constant chase of the next high, the next dopamine hit, the next adrenaline rush. And it basically has me thinking, it has me realizing it. And I said this, I texted this to them, you know, that they're basically looking for the whole outside of themselves. They're looking for the external to basically complete them, to satisfy them, you know, to make them content. They're looking for the guy to complete them, the guy to make them content, the guy that will make them, you know, feel loved and to be loved. They're looking for the outside, the external, to complete them, basically, with everything they do. That's what they're doing. You know, the search for a guy is looking for a guy that, you know, he's gonna complete me, he's gonna love me and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, it's simple. You know, why can't you complete yourself? Why can't you satisfy yourself? You know, and it has me thinking that, you know, this is what so much of this, at least this society, this is what so much of it is built on. Looking for the external to complete you. You know, the consumers and the constant chase for more. You know, when it comes to my girl, you know, she has a shopping addiction, and even with her, you know, and of course I'm here to freaking guide her on a better path, you know, but she's looking for, with a lot of what she does, like the going outside, the shopping addiction, you know, if it wasn't for me, she'd be cooked, you know. But they're looking for the external to complete them, rather than looking at the internal, sitting with themselves to know themselves and to complete themselves. And it's like what I said, that's what so much of this society is built off. It's built off of you not feeling complete in yourself, you looking for the external to complete you, you looking for stimulation, constant dopamine hits, constant adrenaline hits to complete you, to satisfy you, instead of sitting with yourself and looking within. You know, it's built on distraction, it's built on the consumer. You know, this is how they get you, this is how they enslave you. You know, you're looking for the external, and through looking for that external, you become a consumer. And the consumerism, that's how you start working the 9 to 5. That's how you start just basically participating in the rat race, because you think the rat race, you know, you figure it's going to lead to your completion, and you figure it's going to lead to your completion because by getting the money and participating in the system, you think that that is going to get you the resources where you can you could basically buy the means to completing yourself, you know. And it's sad, you feel me, if you get what I'm saying. It's sad, you know, thinking this way, because you're not truly free, you're truly a slave. And really, beneath the surface, beneath all the partying and stuff like that, it's truly just somebody who's lost and somebody that isn't really happy with themselves. You know, all roads lead back to self. All roads lead back to self. Everything is a reflection of self. Everything that you do, every single last thing, it's a reflection of, you know, yourself. And when you realize that, you have to do a deep dive into yourself and ask yourself the why behind you. Why do you do what you do? Why do you want, you know, why are you constantly going from guy to guy to guy to guy? You know, why do you need the stimulation? Why do you need the dopamine hits, the adrenaline? What does that say about you? Why can you not just sit with yourself? You know, just sit with yourself, ask the why behind yourself, and realize that, you know, eventually you're going to realize with the constant chasing of desire, because that's what it really is. It's a chasing of desire. You know, you're going to realize no matter how many desires I fulfill, it never truly satisfies me. It's always the constant need for more. And, you know, that's also why the desire, that's also why the suffering that comes with desire is there, so it could show you yourself. So it could show you yourself. You know, that's also why it's there. But, you know, eventually, when you do what they do, you're going to realize that no matter desire, it's going to complete me. And that's the gateway into the battle against self. When you realize that really all of it was me trying to seek the external to satisfy me, to complete me, you know. And nothing external is going to complete you. Nothing external is going to complete you. The battle has and always will be with yourself. You know, this relationship, any job, you know, any amount of clout, none of it's going to complete you. Only you could satisfy you. Only you could complete you. You know, you're already whole. You feel me? This society, you know, because it's built on consumerism and capitalism. You know, they want you thinking you're not whole. You need this, you need that, you need the girl, you need the house, you need the car, you know, you need the external. And what it really is you need the external validation, you know, to complete you. But, you know, you're already complete. You're already the most loved girl. You're already the most loved boy. You just have to realize that yourself, you know. You're not going to realize that, well, you can have it reflected back to you, but you're not going to realize that chasing the external, that's just going to keep you in a cycle of suffering. And honestly, I let people suffer. You feel me? Because I understand the why behind the suffering. You know, suffering is going to show you yourself. You know, you're going to create, hopefully, you're going to create meaning out of the suffering. You're going to see the why behind it, and that why is going to show you yourself. You feel me? It's just like that. It's just like that Holocaust survivor. You know, he made a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And in that book, it was basically about, you know, he was presented with suffering, but the reason he endured is because he found the why behind it. And the people who didn't find the why behind it, you know, they fell off, they died and stuff like that. That's how it is, you know, but that's suffering's purpose. But, you know, with these girls, and I'm making this video not to basically talk about them, but basically to enlighten you, you know, so you could take something out of this, because I'm simply just using them as an example. But, you know, they're trying to find satisfaction. They're trying to find completion in the external, whether that's the guy, the perfect guy, the party, the club, the substances. You know, they're trying to find a hole outside of themselves, but really, you know, they were already whole. And I texted this to them, and some of them, you know, they did see it. But I hope they truly, you know, realized that, they truly internalized it. You know, you were already whole the whole time. All of this, you were already whole. You just have to realize it yourself. You know, you can have it reflected back to you, like, you know, with Saudi, you know, my girl, you know, I treat her with unconditional love. I'm reflecting back to her that she, you know, that she is loved, that you know, in all her parts, all her flaws, that, you know, she is worth it. You know, I'm trying to inspire, you know, self-love in her. You feel me? You know, me loving her, that's what I try to do. You feel me? Whether she realizes that or not, you know, some people, and also, you know, trying to find the whole in the external, that's going to create dependency. You know, you become dependent on that relationship for, you know, your self-esteem, for your self-worth. You know, you become dependent on a relationship. You become dependent on being, you know, in a relationship, being in, you know, whatever it is external. You become dependent on that thing when you're not whole in yourself. It creates dependency, and that dependency corrupts love. You know, you're not your own constant. You feel me? The love doesn't come from expression. It comes from need and want, and things become corrupted. You know, it's just not good. So the takeaway from this is that you're already whole. Nothing external is going to complete you. You're already whole. You just have to realize it yourself. You just have to realize it yourself. And this life, you know, it tries to be the stage where, you know, you will realize that, where you will realize yourself. You know, the battle against self is constantly at play. The battle against self is the play. And this life is the stage. But I hope, you know, you took something away from this.